Welcome to Craig Back Zone.
Yeah. Okay, you guys, what up? Welcome to Katie Black Show. I have a very special guest, and I think it's powerful when the guests introduce themselves. So,
Hi. I guess I'll say I'm Hall Monitor of the Universe, but my name's Chris. But all social medias is Hall Monitor of the Universe. And yeah, that's me.
yeah, so you are my first celebrity from TikTok.
Celebrity?
Yes, I have been following your videos for a while.
Oh, that's exciting. How long do you think? I always like to know, like, gauge.
I would say definitely like maybe, and that's when I started getting into TikTok period, but I would say like the height of the pandemic.
Okay, so that was when I first started. I mean, that is kind of when I started. Because it was when I left Hollywood, convinced myself the world was ending.
Gotcha.
And I was like, I'm going to talk about all this Hollywood stuff. So that's kind of, now everyone does it.
I know, but that's my forte. That's my drug. If that was at Walgreens, I would have refill prescriptions of it. Okay, but first of all, where does the Hall Monitor of the Universe, like, where did that come from?
So I was actually talking to my friend about this the other day, and I thought originally it came from, like, back in the day, it used to drive me nuts. It still does, but I just don't pay attention when people don't put their shopping carts away. It's like a pet peeve of mine, to the point where, like, I would get into fights with people if I saw them doing it and stuff.
Right.
So I thought Hall Monitor came from that, but then she told me something else, and now I'm like totally like brain dead about it. Pretty much what it came from was, I thought it was funny. It was in a sense that I am always talking for the underdog. I feel like I always feel like I'm the person that will go, like, even with TikTok, like, all these people now are doing all this stuff, whereas prior I feel like I was one of the only ones on TikTok years ago really talking about celebrities, like telling you what was going on sets, doing all that. So I created it, and it turned into something. I didn't have any intention of it turning into like being like a name or something that like I went by, but it just did.
Well, I'm obviously I'm obsessed.
Thanks.
But okay, so yeah, I always say 1,800 directions we could go, but obviously focusing on the TikTok right off the bat, obviously obsessed with the hashtag not Lance Bass. Was wondering where that came from.
How old are you? Can I ask?
Yeah, absolutely. I am.
Okay.
I was about to like say the wrong number, but I am 34.
Okay, so I'm 40.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be 40 at the end of the month. And when I was in high school, NSYNC came out when I was 16. There was a group of girls that would follow me around calling me Lance Bass. And I was furious about it. I hated it. I'm someone that, like, I've gotten used to it over the years working in Hollywood, because you get compared to so many people. But I absolutely hate being compared to anybody except for myself. So on the TikTok, it started happening. Like, people actually thought with my first couple videos that it was Lance Bass talking shit. So I started putting the hashtag not Lance Bass, which now I think has like 6 million views, which is psycho. So that's how that started. And it's funny because, like, people think, like, I've leaned into it, but it's not something I love. Like, I don't love being compared to anyone, really. Lance Bass is probably a wonderful person. Never met him, never worked with him. I did work with Joey Fatone on a show, though, but we were in all this, like, get up, and I had a scene with him, and I so badly wish I wasn't, like, in this, like, 1700s wig and stuff, because I wanted to be like, do you think I look like your friend? Because I want to know someone, like, close. Do you? But living in LA, I did get a lot. Like, people would come up to me at lunch and think I was him and stuff like that. So that's where it came from.
I think that's when I was like, oh my God, I'm following this guy. Just like loving that hashtag. Okay, so another thing that I am intrigued by is, well, first of all, with you being famous on TikTok, do you get people coming up to you in public throughout the years?
No, I've never. No.
Really?
I don't see. I think if it would, I'm only at like 42,000 followers. Like, I do think a lot of people see my videos. I don't think it really has to do with a lot of the followers anymore. And I do think because I refuse to, like, sell stuff on there, and I refuse to kind of, like, brand myself with certain brands. That's kind of why they keep me where I'm at. But I think we're in this time now where everyone's kind of famous. So, like, I don't think people are really, like, looking for that, especially living in LA. You would see famous people all the time. So, like, the only time I've been recognized is if someone thought I was Lance Bass. And I'd be like, I'm not Lance Bass. I'm not. This one lady one time was like, take off your sunglasses. I know you're him. I said, I'm not him. I'm not him. And I'm not taking off my sunglasses. That's rude. And then she went away. She was giving me the mean mug at this restaurant. And I thought she's going to go around and be like, Lance Bass was such a fucking cunt to me at this restaurant. But whatever. It's not, I mean, it's me.
Yeah, it's not
rude
your problem,
to tell
right?
someone to take off your sunglasses, in my opinion. Don't talk
Yeah,
to
I mean,
people
that's ballsy. That's
totally.
That's very ballsy. So, okay, before I zoom into, no pun intended, we're on Zoom, you guys. For LA, I want to know, I'm all about generations. So obviously I just docked that you are millennial with myself, and I've double checked that it's babies born between 1981 and 96, and wanted to know your thoughts on that generation, the stereotypes.
I get really annoyed, I guess, with just kind of grouping us all together. I get annoyed with groups, period. Like, even with my writing and stuff like that, like I just wrote something for Gay Pride Month and it's going to come out on the 6th. And I made it very specific that like, this is my, like, I do not speak for all the LGBT plus community. Like, this is just my opinion. So like, I do think it's kind of dangerous to put people into groups. And I think it's almost political in a sense that we're like, all clumped, because I remember when this started, I wasn't a millennial. Like, it was like they put me in a different, I feel like years ago when they started all this, it was something like you had to be, because millennials technically pre social media, right? Is that what it's supposed to be?
No, you're right. Well, I guess the whole thing of, and I'm sure maybe it has changed over the last 10 years, but I guess the millennial cap bubble is that like we experience life without like obsession of internet, but then also like saw the evolution.
So that makes sense, because I had the 80s where like I would, and then I mean I feel like the first porn that you saw, like that I saw, was in like 98. It would be like that it would like load up like this, and then it would be like a picture in front of you. So totally, like I can see that. Like we didn't have, and I feel bad for the generations now. Like I was just telling my friend the other day, like they don't know what it's like to go meet all your friends at 11 o'clock at a bar and know that everyone's going to be there at 11 and then be with them without your phones, taking pictures and telling everybody you're there. Like I actually got to experience like going to a concert without filming, showing people. Like I got to experience the concerts, so I think it's good and bad. Like I'm terrible with technology. So like, I think that's bad. Like I hate, like I want to start a podcast, but I don't fucking know how to edit, do any of it. Like it all scares me. So like, I just don't do it, so there's good and bad, I think.
No, I feel you. Well, I always ask people, where did you grow up / where were you born?
I was born in Las Vegas, Nevada, but I grew up in Boulder City, which is like right by the Hoover Dam in Nevada. It's like 45 minutes outside, very small town, just your stereotypical awful, like was so grateful to go to high school in Las Vegas because I begged, and got to go to a bigger school where I could kind of like mesh into like a group of people to like be left alone. But yeah, was born in a very small town, was bullied a lot. Your typical, it's so typical now, this story that goes on, but I'm grateful for it now because it's given me kind of, it makes you who you are today, I guess. Right.
Does it, I mean, I don't know. Does it make it? I don't know. It probably doesn't make it feel good, but like, well, yeah. What is it like now that you've like gotten older to hear that like you weren't the only one experiencing something like that?
I think it gives me a sense of purpose in the sense that like wearing this, for instance, like I was thinking putting this on today because it's Pride Month and today's so exciting, right? But back in the day, I would be embarrassed of old, quote unquote, old gay guys wearing rainbow stuff. I'm like, why would you want to bring attention to yourself like that? Like I would think that in my brain, like I would never want that. And it's so crazy how you get, well, for me at least, when I'm getting older, how a sense of responsibility comes along with it. It's kind of like, okay, this has happened to you, right? But now it's happening in a different way. Like, yes, like queer people have like after school clubs, like I see now, which is great, where they can go to and be safe. But they also have online where they go on and they think they're like 5 pounds overweight, or they're judging themselves on filters and hair extensions and hair colors and all this kind of stuff, when that person, it doesn't look anything like that, sound anything like that, can be edited like that. So does that answer the question? I don't even remember what the fucking question. Okay.
No, for sure. When also too, I am being into pop culture
Yeah.
and society and obviously like America because I like this is all I know. What do you think it is with the obsession to I mean now there's like body acceptance, but sometimes I like psychoanalyze like is there really body acceptance? I feel like and I've been like very open that like I have body dysmorphia.
Yeah, same.
And so the more I talk to people like what is that about? Or is that like do you really think that the tide is changing or
So I think it's personal. I mean, I think how can you not have it? Really? How can you not have it in a world where we're all so consumed with how we look? I mean, I don't know how when I was in LA and the last two shows I was working on was Impeachment and American Horror Story, and I was so concerned with gaining 3 pounds because they will kick you out of like fittings and stuff like that. So like I was probably 20 pounds less than what I am right now, which is like sickly. And I still felt fat. And I know people hear that and they're like, this is ridiculous, blah, blah, blah. I am this, I am that. It's how I feel. It's how I felt. And I think just knowing that and knowing like, I feel like the older I get and the more I realize I just need to be comfortable with, I used to be this person that's like, I will not throw away the 30 size jeans because I'll get back into it. Now I toss them. I go up to like what I need to. I wear like sweatpants if I don't feel great that day. And then I make sure that like I am wearing something appropriate for myself to feel comfortable. Do you get what I'm saying? I guess that's the only, and I think it's hard we're all so consumed with ourselves, especially in America. So consumed.
it's so true. It's so true. Or even too like weighing yourself. Like I've tried to go through periods where I don't weigh myself or like last night or yesterday I like weighed myself 3 times a day. And I always try to say what advice would I give my friend and I would be like that's unnecessary.
Right,
If
right.
you weigh yourself once a week if that and that's it.
Right. Right.
But I can't.
Well, and too, like weighing yourself, if you're working out or you're dieting, like sometimes that's off. Like I'll get into places where like I'm doing yoga 5 times a week. I'm lifting weights and then I'll weigh myself and I haven't lost any weight. So then I'll start starving myself. And it's like, no, you've gained weight because you're toning up, because your body looks different. It's so, I won't weigh myself. I probably haven't weighed myself in 6 months because I was so traumatized by, and I even think back, like, because American Horror Story was the last show I was on. I was a pregnant man in it. And I was worried. I had to wear this huge belly. I was worried about, and I wore like this robe. I was still concerned with like them firing me because if I gained weight, I don't know. It's nuts. I'm so glad that my mind and body is out of that.
Well, also too, it sounds like it's always nice to talk to people that have like some kind of like self, like you're very you're very open and like realize and talking about. I don't know, and I don't know if that's just maybe partly our generation and like all of the boomers and everyone. It's like you don't talk about shit like that, but I feel like it's helped me because I always felt like I dealt with all my body issues like by myself.
Totally.
And was wondering, did you deal with body issues as a child or was it when you?
Yeah, I was anorexic when I was like middle school, high school, I was anorexic. To the point where like I was on Accutane for like 2 years and the doctors were like scared because like I would pass out while I was driving, like stuff like that. And for me, it was like all about control. It was all about addiction and control. Like it was a total addiction to me. It was a total like mind fuck in the sense that like if I could control my food intake, but then I would binge, you know what I'm saying? I hate throwing up though. So like I never became bulimic thing, but like, I mean, even when I was like screwed up, like drinking and stuff, I would sit in bed and be like, God, you have to throw up, you have to throw up, you'll feel better. And then it's like, I don't wanna, like I would sit there for like an hour and like do it. But definitely the anorexia can rear its ugly, hold on one second.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay. Sorry.
No worries.
I had to do not disturb that. But yeah, it can come like in Hollywood. It came back. The anorexia totally came back. But it's a form of control. Don't you feel like that?
Well, I know that that's a lot of things with like food issue, like food,
right,
whatever. But for me, it is like goes back to like almost, and I've said this before, and I don't know how this comes across because I know that like I'm white and straight, and so like I don't feel like I really know what it's like to be a minority.
Everyone's allowed to have their opinion, so don't ever think that. Yeah.
Thank you. But I felt like, and even still too, it's gotten a lot better in the last couple years, but I felt like I was in the wrong body, not for gender, but for like weight. I'm like, this is not my body.
Yeah, that makes sense. I feel a total disconnect from my brain to my body all the time. Like constantly. Like, you know what's one thing though that has opened it up is dressing in women's clothes. Like, that's kind of opened up because in my brain it's easier to cover my stomach in women's clothes. Like I can wear my pants up above my belly button. So like I feel more comfortable in the sense where like in men's clothes, like my hips will be down here. And then when I sit down, like I feel like everything's hanging over my jeans, you know? Whereas in women's, like I'm kind of sausaged in, I feel like, but at the same time, I'm more secure, which I bet you if you ask women, they're probably like the opposite of that. But for me, it was like an actual like opening up. Like it was kind of like, I don't know, learning more about my body, I guess, and learning like my legs, I have really nice legs. They're long, super long and thin. I've hated them my whole life. I've always gotten compliments on them, but as a, gender assigned male, they're not like cute legs in my brain. Like men don't like that. They're like nice women legs. But then when I started wearing dresses, I'm like, fuck, I got some fucking nice legs, bitch. Like, but like I started thinking like, oh my God, what am I doing? And then I put like some stilettos on and I look at myself in a video. I'm like, what? I'm nuts. I could rule the world with these legs. Like I could be a supermodel from the waist down. Like everything else is a big old mess in my brain. But like, I don't know. It's kind of been eye-opening. And TikTok, I feel like, is a big part of that. Seeing people be so open with their gender fluidness and seeing people be so open with who they love and stuff like that. I do think there's a dark side to all of it too. But I think also it's opened up people's eyes to like, who fucking cares what you're wearing, what size you are? Look at Lizzo. I mean, for God's sake, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, Lizzo would never have been famous. Not to be rude, but it just pop culture and society would not have allowed it because she's black and quote unquote how she looks. So like, it's interesting to see now the reins. I do think maybe kids now hopefully will be more comfortable with their bodies, right?
Absolutely.
Is that the outcome?
Yeah. I think so. And I've kind of always been like, yeah, where was like Lizzo when I was like in high school? You know what I mean?
I bet you there were Lizzos, but like they were shut down. They were like, I don't know. I was talking to my best friend Chris about this the other day, and it's like, we love our divas, but we would always say we love our divas thin, which is awful. But like back, 2 decades ago, you'd see like Mariah Carey, and she's like a size 0 back then too. Unhealthy for like her because you see her now and you're like, this is how she's supposed to look. Mm-hmm. Like that's, you can see because she's consistently like that, but you can see what like society would put on them, AKA, and then like it transfers to us. Like, well, we need to look like this. This is how they sell stuff,
Interesting. No, you're right. So before I get into your journey into Hollywood, I know that, or I overheard in one of your TikToks that you either listened to the Mariah Carey autobiography or read it, right? What's up?
Obsessed. Yeah.
Okay. So I can like take a lot of shit. Like I'm also like reading a Ted Bundy book, which I have no issue reading, but the Mariah Carey book, I have like taken like months off and come back. It is so emotional for me and was wondering just.
Did you listen to it or are you reading it? I'm
reading it and I'm like, Katie, why are you like, I haven't even gotten to like Tommy Mottola yet.
Oh, and that's the best part. Tommy Mottola is the best part because she spills it all. So it's interesting. I listened to it again when I was traveling and I did skip through all the beginning stuff because it is so traumatizing. And I literally have said, I'm like, because I had a pretty crazy childhood, nothing compared to that. Being a mixed person with a black father and a white mother, I have no clue, but like I do know how it is to be queer. I do know how it is to be like closeted, non-binary, stuff like that. But to hear like that her house was like attacked and like that those girls pulled her into the room and started calling her the N-word. I mean, it gets to me. It's like, and then the only thing that got her through it was knowing that she was going to be famous. Like, shut up, Chris. Like, I would get pissed at myself when I hear that. I'm like, you complain about this person saying this to you and then you don't want to do anything. Look what she did. Like, She knew that she was going to do this. So I don't know.
She did it.
You got to get to the good part. You got to get to Derek Jeter.
Okay,
she talks about Derek Jeter in it.
Do you think that was like the love of her life? Or is that too much?
No, I think Nick maybe. I don't think she looks at it like that. She talks about Derek in a sense where Derek opened her up to like sexuality in a way, you know, because she's fucking that old dude for so long. Like that was like her first. So she kind of, Derek is like the first mixed person that she met. So that was like the connection there, but he's hot. I mean, the stuff that went on with that, oof, I love it.
Okay, well then that'll encourage me. I mean, I know I was gonna finish it, but for some reason, like, and then like hearing that her like sister drugged her and her brother
tried to have a prostitute. The brother's like a pimp. I mean, and I always say they're products of their environment, and we are all products of our environment. So therefore, I rarely think someone is born like a psychopath. I rarely think that. Like, few far and in between do you hear about someone just becoming a psychopath. They always got like this psycho-ass story, right? So there's that, but it's like, it humbles me to hear stuff like that. Now, do I care? I mean, she's rich and fucking famous now. She's fine. She's fine now, baby. Okay? So she'll be okay.
True. Okay, another question is, okay, so I also saw on your TikTok that, well, okay, let me back up. How did you go from Las Vegas to Los Angeles?
I don't know. I just picked up one day. Like, I was in a relationship for 10 years and I devoted my life to that whole relationship out of high school. I got sober my first time and I started to kind of really look into like what I wanted to do. And like, I always wanted to act and write. And I've always written since I was like 6. Ever since I could write, I always wrote. So I actually went out there to pitch a TV show. That's right. With my friend Nick. We wrote a TV show called What Happens Here. It was about 2 guys getting sober in Las Vegas. One was gay, one was straight. They were best friends. And it was about them, dark comedy, getting sober in Las Vegas. And we pitched that. So we moved out there for that. And then I fell into background acting and fucking started hating Hollywood after that. So.
Well, just because, and also too, I saw that you wrote an article that literally is titled "I Joined the Actors Union and Became Broke."
Yeah.
So I mean, like,
obviously, it's still like a touchy subject with me because like it was my choice, so I have to realize it was my choice to join. But like, I didn't realize $3,100 while living in Los Angeles during a pandemic was not going to work, you know? And like the show, like in the article, it says I was working on impeachment. I was doing really good. And then impeachment stopped booking me, which it is what it is. Right. And I don't think it was anything personal. I just think it was what it was. And I just couldn't afford it to the point where I had to stop paying rent. And the Actors Union does nothing for you. SAG does. I have never seen SAG do anything for me, just like it says in the article. I even called to get a refund.
Well, and for those that don't know, because essentially the industry or the location that you're at is telling you that like you need to join, right? Like,
right. Everyone.
Everything, right?
Yeah. And I think pre-pandemic, it was a lot different. I think SAG people got a lot more benefits pre-pandemic. I do think it was a bit different. I think the pandemic has really took a shit on everything everywhere. Mm-hmm. So I think prior to the pandemic, I wouldn't have had such an experience with it. But because I joined during the pandemic, because one of the perks, I don't know if I said it in the article, it may have been edited out because they only want a certain amount of words, but one of the perks is like going to parties, going to movie premieres. That was one of the perks. And you don't do that anymore, you know? So that was like thrown out. Classes in person were thrown out. All this stuff that were perks to SAG were gone. I think back on it, I just fucking wish I wouldn't have done it. It's one of my biggest regrets because there was no point in doing it. Zero.
So do you still have a SAG card? Do you have to get it?
Yeah. I was supposed to pay dues a month ago, another like $230, and I didn't. And I'm not going to. And I decided I'm not going to unless I decide I have to. Meaning like if something comes along, if an audition comes along and I get it and I have to be SAG. But this is the thing. If someone hires me onto a TV show or a movie, they'll fucking pay me to get out of there so I can just be on, you know what I'm saying? Like they do that with actors. So it's like, I don't need to worry about it. I talked to a couple friends who are SAG, and one of my friends said, she's like, I haven't paid dues in like 3 years and they're still booking me as SAG. So I think a lot has changed. Sorry, my dog is like scratching.
Oh no, you're fine.
But yeah, I mean, the SAG card I have is not, it says like April 2022. So it's not even valid. Oh, whatever.
So yeah, I mean, I just come from a place of like, that's so fascinating. And like, obviously like very sad to hear.
Yeah. And I think that like talking about it now, 'cause I haven't really talked about it with anyone like this hold on. Now she's deaf.
Oh,
She's deaf and blind, Paisley. And she's trying to figure out where she's at. What was the question? Sorry.
No, I was just saying that, like, I just think that, like, no, I know, I do a lot of these people, but, like, I just feel like, I don't know, it just sucks to hear that, essentially. But it's also fascinating.
I'm more pissed about the money. Like, I was just more pissed about the money, and I was more pissed about certain people in the industry kind of talking me into it when they knew full and well they should have just shut the fuck up. I don't know. I got so many misguided
advice.
Yes, I got told so many things that was so opposite of what that was being done in Hollywood. But now I've learned, you know, I got told by so many people prior to going out there that had been involved in Hollywood. They're like, don't trust anybody. Everybody's out for themselves. You know, all these things that you hear. And I just had to learn the hard way, because I do think, like, you see this persona of me online where I'm very like outspoken and for the underdog, but I'm also very a trusting person. So like once you get into the circle, like I'm super trusting and I believe I'm an idiot. Okay. I'm a freaking idiot. And I wish I would have listened to my gut more, you know, as opposed to what people were saying. So,
but I'm sure if someone listening can connect with that no matter what industry they're in, you know?
Totally. I think that's for everyone, right? I mean, it's like Hollywood is just like a big corporation. So it's like you're just involved in like a huge corporation of people that are all trying to get promoted, you know? Mm-hmm. So.
Well, since you mentioned the impeachment, like any like thoughts on like the actual story of what happened? Like basically, like, do you, like, are you on Monica's side? Are you on Bill's side? Or do you think it takes two to tango?
No, I'm pretty, I mean, he is a gross person, in my opinion. Being involved in it, Monica Lewinsky was on set with us. She was a producer. So I would see her sometimes because I was on set so much. She's a lovely person, very funny, bubbly. I think what happened to her was awful. I think what happened to Tripp was awful. I think what happened with what's the other chick's name?
Oh my God, I can see her now. Paula, someone, right?
Paula, yes, the Paula chick. I think what happened to them, because you were in, I don't know. Yes, I think, absolutely. I don't know much about the Clintons. I'm not getting into all that kind of shit. Right. I don't fucking know about all that. But like what I'm saying is yes, I think he's gross. And I think Clive Owen was perfect to play him. And I think, yeah.
Do you think that, like, I guess, and again, obviously this is something that, like, I've been obsessed with since it happened. When I, like, I took my parents' Time magazine when they had the Ken Starr report, and I, like, went upstairs and read it in my bed. I was in 4th grade, and I was like, oh, this is what oral sex is. So anyways, I'm just backtracking, like, I've been obsessed.
Yeah. I don't really remember a lot of it. I just remember her wearing a beret. Like, I remember the beret. I remember the fashion about it. No, I remember, and I do remember, like, the splooge on the dress. Like that, those are the two things that I remember. And I remember calling her a whore. I remember making fun of her. I remember being in the pop culture. Like, I mean, she's another woman that's like a victim. Thank God she got through it, because who knows? I would have loved to have heard, because Tripp ended up dying, I think a month before production started, or maybe a month into production. I can't remember. I would have loved to have heard her side of the story too, you know, because I think Linda Tripp was dragged horribly, you know?
Totally. And I think that she was, but I mean, I think partly to going back to like how she looked, I think that was like a huge chunk of the pie. It was because of how she looked. Yeah. But I guess I would never record somebody.
No, not in this day and age. No.
You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm always like, that was like really ballsy of her to. I mean, I
think
get
Paulson did you watch the show?
I did.
What did you think?
I mean, obviously,
Honestly,
I was like fascinated because again,
I think they could have cut all the episodes like at least 25 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like,
and that's kind of how I feel with like The Staircase on HBO. Have you watched that? Okay, well, it's just like you could have at least let go of one episode, but I guess I was more intrigued again. Like I'm very interesting where it's like it was everything was dark, like literally like dark blues, like just everything was
right.
Like, the lighting was dark, but obviously like all intentional. So I'm like zeroing in on that. But yeah, just fascinating to see. I guess for so long I always thought it takes two to tango. Whatever. I was 22 once, and like I would never do that. But then like watching that, you're like, I literally like I'm like, whoa, like I have viewed this like so wrong. That's honestly my walk away was that like I feel really bad for this young woman, essentially.
Well, and I think that was the point of the book that they were following, and I think that was the point of the show was to show the side of the women, and that's why I was so proud to be part of that show. I was so glad when it was over, but I was like so proud to have been involved in it. Yeah, totally.
No, it sounds like you've been involved in a lot of cool things. I also saw on TikTok that you're like, dude, why is everyone acting like Top Gun is like...
I can't.
Would you want to kind of explain what I'm saying? Like, you're just like, why is everyone acting like Top Gun is like Schindler's List?
I think it's because we haven't had anything, so we're all desperate for something, exciting. And I think it's also like the Hollywood is once again pointing you where you need to go. Like they're like, you're gonna love this. Like if you've noticed on TV, I don't know but through commercials, I'll be watching like a housewife commercial and all of a sudden a dinosaur will come out and be like Jurassic Park in theaters June 10th. They've gotten to the point where now you're watching a commercial for something else and now they're putting in movies for you to watch. I think the movie industry is dying. I think it's going to be dead within 10 years. I think because of shootings and because people can watch it in their homes. What's the point? I really don't think. I went and saw Doctor Strange by myself recently, which was, just like so disappointing. I thought they could have done so much better with that movie. But what was the point of saying that? I don't know.
No, just Top Gun being like everyone literally acting like it's like I said, like it's like Forrest Gump or something.
Well, and like the macho-ness of it. That's the other thing that bugs me. It's the macho-ness. It's and I know I don't want to get hate for this, but like that we love our. I'm not gonna say it, no, because I'm gonna get so much hate for it. But like we put all this love into something that like really is hurtful to other people, and I look at that sometimes in a movie like that where it's like. It's all about American, patriotic, and this, and I look at it like this is exactly what's wrong with everything that's going on in the world right now. It's like overtly masculine bullshit. I'm not saying everyone needs to be feminine. What I'm saying is,
I get it. No, I literally I get what you're saying. Totally.
Yeah. Well, and of course, I had a personal thing with it too. So it's like I have this personal story with it too, with just one day. But I mean. I just pitched the whole story to my editor because I want to actually write about my full day on Top Gun because I think it is so important to know that like they didn't feed us properly. He had us waiting down. I mean, it was just so he yelled at this other actor in front of everybody and walked off set. I mean, it was obscene the way I actually listened to one of your podcasts and you talked about Tom and you said, you thought Tom would be someone that would like help you out in the industry. And I do not think that he would be someone that would help you out. I don't think any of them want to help anybody out. Honestly, I've been close to some of these people and they say they want to help you out and they don't do certain things. Well, they say they do. And then they hand you off to their assistant and then nothing happens. I'd rather you be like, no, like give it up.
Yeah. Like cut the bullshit.
Right. Or like, this isn't the road you're supposed to be going on with me. Like, I'd rather that. So, but.
No, I mean, I can believe now that you're saying that. I guess I thought maybe that, like, if you happen to be in a social situation and he thought you were cool, he would help. But also, I think the end result would be like, I'm going to help you so that like maybe I can kind of dance you around Scientology.
Well, and I think that is like what I said, in that everyone was Scientologists on that set. So it was very bizarre and weird, and it was so extra culty. I mean, Hollywood is a cult in my mind, but like this was like extra cult. It was like very like, and they would have such hard science. They do their own like productions of Scientology out there. They would have such hard times finding people. Like they would pay triple the amount of money for people to do. Like they would reach out to me and the organization and the agent that I worked with, and it would be like, we want them to play a queer drug addict for triple what they would get. And I'm like, I'm not doing that, because I know what you guys are doing. You're going to take me and put me in your weird thing and show people that I'm wrong or something like that. You're actually using it as like a PSA, So I love Leah Remini and everything that she does. She drives me nuts, like the way she is. But that whole thing that she does, I love it. I love that she's like calling them out. So
ditto.
Yeah.
Well, also too, basically, I'm obsessed with that. I saw the quote that like James Corden, I'm like butchering his last name, late night dude. Obviously, you can see I'm not crazy about him because I butchered his name.
Oh, who is?
Tell me, can you like share like a short story about that experience?
Yeah, so I was booked on the prom. It was like 3 weeks prior to. Did you see the prom?
I didn't.
It's terrible. You don't need to see it. It's a fucking musical that, it should have been good, but it was terrible. So I booked 3 weeks. It was right before going home for Christmas. I was so excited because I would have money to travel, yada, yada, yada. We all had these like lovely suits on. I had like this purple suit on. It was so cute. So there was so many of us extras, and they picked like 6 of us to be in a scene with Meryl and James Corden. Meryl was so lovely. James Corden was so just like, talk about someone that should not have self-esteem. Like, I don't know how or why that fool has any type of self-esteem, because what is he like? I don't get it. I love that Ricky Gervais called him a fat pussy at the Golden Globes because of Cats. I thought it was the funniest thing in the world. And there are comedians out there that will tell you everything. Like, he is not a fun person to work with. I have other people that are celebrities that have made fun of him, James, in front of me. I won't say it because it's like confidence, but
essentially, like, he was just a rude motherfucker.
What I noticed about him is like, he was placed with this one girl, and they were like, okay, now act excited. And so the girl was like, yay. And she went like this, and he like refused to like hand clap her. He refused to like interact with her. It was more of like that the other people didn't exist. Whereas like Meryl Streep, it's freaking Meryl Streep walks in and goes, you all look so beautiful. Hi, how are you? Hi, how are you? I'm like, you can learn a little bit from her. Like, who do you think you are? You're nobody. And you're getting paid more than everyone here. You should act appropriately. Like, you should know that everyone is so excited to be around whoever. Like, it doesn't matter what celebrity you are. If you're working in that kind of scenario, you do get like a little giddy when someone's like nice to you. It's so sick. It's so sick. I think about it like when Jennifer Garner, she like talked to me on a set, and so lovely, by the way. I got so giddy, and I'm like, this is weird. I shouldn't be getting giddy about some random person talking to me. You know what I'm saying? But I would, because there were so many fucking awful ones that would act as if you weren't even there. That would,
like, not treat you like a human.
Like Clive Owen did on the set of Impeachment. Instead of telling me to move my foot to the left a little bit, went and got the director. The director went and got the AD, and the AD told me in front of everybody. I was so pissed when that happened, because I thought, who do you think you are? Like, you're obviously somebody, because we're all somebody, but shock, bewilderment, couldn't believe it.
Well, I guess it's just like, as I've gotten older, I mean, and I know some people have like actually like social anxiety or whatever, but it sounds like people don't know how to like be like socially appropriate on like every level, right?
What is that though, anyways, too? It's kind of like, I guess, I just think in Hollywood specifically, it's very much like if you're, I mean, I was told on the set with Dwayne The Rock, like if I turn around, I'd be removed from set if I looked at it.
Oh, so weird. I hate those stories. Like, so
And by the way, he would not show up to set sometimes, and he would just leave everyone hanging. So like, who do you think you are? Like, thank God we would have a full day guaranteed no matter what. So like, thank God there was that. So you would get, if you got 2 hours, you get paid 8 regardless. But yeah,
I guess it's just worth ethic, or even to like, and I'll get your opinion on this because I know you talked about it a little bit. It's like I had saw somewhere where like obviously the Johnny Depp, as you record, Amber Heard is wrapping up, and they like had examples of something about like that he was so nice to crew and set and was so respectful, but he was like 6 hours late. So I just kind of thought of like, when you're kind of like the star of the show, the movie, whatever, and I would never be 6 hours. If I was 6 hours late to something, like I would tell friends and family to call the police.
Can you imagine? That's like half a day. 6 hours late. Like, I'm mortified if I'm 10.
That's what
like,
I'm
I am
saying.
such a time person. Like, I can't. So, I mean, fortunately, the people that I know in Hollywood, like, I feel like are really good with, I don't know. I've been around the whole mixed bag of all of them. At the end of the day, they're all fucking people, and I guess they're all just, you know, gonna act differently, and, you know.
So was the pandemic the reason that you're like, I'm out of here? Or like, what made you leave?
I got really depressed in LA. I gotta be honest, I was drinking and smoking a lot of pot too. So like, that wasn't helping things. I was back on my rent. I wasn't getting booked. American Horror Story was like the last bit, and I was just done being in the background. I was just done. I mean, here and there I had parts, here and there I had lines. I've been on shows where I've done actual things, and those were great days, but like few far and in between. And what I noticed with the pandemic is a lot less jobs, because now you have like actual celebrities fighting for jobs because there's less TV shows and less movies to work for. So now you're even in a bigger tank, like in a tank where like you would have to kill someone and step over them in order to get quote unquote what you wanted, or, you know, the part that you wanted, all that kind of stuff. So
do you have any desire to go back when things are better?
I would go back as like a producer and a writer. Yeah. I don't know if I'd want to be like on camera. I know that like everyone's probably like, you're nuts. If it was something like that I wrote and something that I would feel comfortable acting in, absolutely. If it's something I had control over, and if it was something that I felt really good about, you know? But like, even American Horror Story, I know I keep bringing it up, but like, I was so jazzed. I was like, oh my God, I get to be on freaking American Horror Story, right? It was the worst season they ever had. And the filming, the people that worked on the show were awful. The crew was awful. They were all assholes. It was awful. It was bad. I don't know how else to say it. And it really just...
Since I'm like, I love to like psychoanalyze, is that just like, when you have a bad mood on set, it's just contagious, or what?
Don't you think that's everywhere?
Yeah, kind of. But I guess I've gotten older. It's like I clear the
you know how to pick and choose.
Well, totally. I mean, obviously in a work scenario, obviously there's like no choice, right? But like,
right.
I guess I feel like I've become more isolated since the pandemic, which is good and bad. Totally. But now when I go into social situations, I feel like I can pick up on people's energy. I don't know. You wonder, like, does negative people, like, you know, misery hates loves company, whatever the fuck.
I think American Horror Story is such a big show and everyone wanted to be on it, that like, I think that energy started, like, especially being a background actor on that, we're just looked at like peasants. So like, of course you're going to be treated to like peasants. Now, the PA that took care of me, I cannot remember her name. She was lovely. I'm not talking about her. So if she's listening, I love you. And I've chatted with her recently. I'm not talking about her, but it was just other aspects of it. Yeah. And I do think if, you know, and I think leading the pack, like the star of the show, if they come on set and they're rude and gross and all that stuff, everyone's going to have a bad day, you know?
I just wish someone, I mean, obviously I'm like in a dream scenario. I'm sure it's been this way for obviously decades and decades, but it's like, wouldn't someone check them? Wouldn't someone be like, yo, like, shut the fuck? I mean, obviously you don't want to say shut the fuck up because they got to speak, but like, I don't know.
Check who though?
I mean, just like the main people that are like.
How do you check them though? Like how do you check?
You end up like your job's in jeopardy. Again, I know I'm saying this is like a dream scenario of like.
Right.
Where the fuck have you been? Like, did you go to jail? Like, if they're late, and then if they're rude, be like, don't be fucking rude.
Right. But again, I mean, I've done that. I mean, that's kind of how I became Like I was calling celebrities out and I got their attention. So like I was calling specific people out, calling
Can
them.
you give an example?
See you next Tuesdays. And that's kind of how I got big. I don't know if I want to, but I mean, like, I'm sure if you look into,
didn't you have like someone like you called someone out and then they like got on a call with you?
Yeah. So, I mean, it was Paulson. So, I mean, and that's how I got onto impeachment. That's how I got onto Horror Story, and I'm super grateful for it. But worked on Ratched, and pandemic happened, and I was so disappointed with what I witnessed on the show on Ratched that I went online and I zeroed in on her, and I would even do it like as a joke at the end of stuff. I would be like, and Sarah Paulson's like I would do that at the end of the thing, and I got her attention during the pandemic. So we started chit-chatting. We ended up doing a live to get Joe Biden elected, which was very exciting. I don't know about all that now, but yes. So I've been in those situations where I am the person that will do that. I also think, though, it puts you in a box. I don't fucking know, dude. I don't fucking know.
I love it. Well, thanks for.
I don't regret any of it.
Yeah. You shouldn't, because again, like someone always needs to like, or even too, I remember I was thinking about this the other day. This probably happened like 3 years ago, but I was in like, not a Jamba Juice, but like one of the juice places or whatever. And the lady in front of me was being so rude to the people that work there. She's like, this isn't the juice it doesn't look like the juice that I ordered last time. And like, and I was just like, bitch, you came in here nasty. Like you came in here wanting to fight.
But you came in here to pick a fight.
Yeah.
Well, I think in situations in Hollywood, like I've written about this in my articles, when you don't want for anything, what are you going to do? Celebrities don't want for anything. They don't need money. They don't need a place to live. They don't need extra clothes. They don't need all this. So what are they going to do? Well, they're going to grasp to power. And what does power look like? Well, power looks like ordering people around, being rude to people, doing X, Y, and Z to people, So, I mean, I think that's a big part of it,
Okay, well now towards the end I tried to get into like fun, like not that this hasn't been fun, but like fun randomness, not that I haven't always been random. But okay, so what is your thoughts as you record, they're in deliberation, the jury is with the Johnny Depp, Amber Heard situation. Any thoughts on like what might be the outcome or what's
Okay, so I have not been following. I assumed at first that he was just gross until I kind of looked into it and saw how nuts she is. This is what I'm going to say. I think there are bigger things in the world for us to be worried about than Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. And I think Amber Heard is psycho. I think Johnny Depp is also an egomaniac. I think they both, yes, if someone's going to shit in someone's bed and blame it on the dog, they're obviously out of their minds, right? But I think also a person that stays with that person is also psycho. So it's like, they gave each other something. I think you guys are watching it. I think everyone's watching a TV show. I think it's all part of this whole gig. Something will come out of this for them. They'll both be okay, right? Because doesn't she have Tesla's kid?
Yes.
So she's going to be fine.
That's the word on the street. That's the word on the street. I don't know if
it don't matter what goes on. If that's Tesla's kid, if that's whatever his name is, kid, she gonna be okay no matter what.
Right.
I do feel kind of bad for her because I think women have it worse than men in Hollywood still to this day. So I think you can label a woman a crazy witch, whereas like a guy can make a joke and everyone like gets on, I mean, just like the Tom Cruise thing. We all know he's like a part of a cult. Yeah, we're all like, yay, Top Gun's out. Oh my God, let's go watch Top Gun. It's nostalgia. It's like, no, he's part of a cult. Like a legitimate cult called Scientology in my brain, but whatever. So.
Oh, totally. But I still think he would like hold the door open for me if he got to the door first.
So, full disclosure, I know someone that knows him personally, and she says he's lovely. So there you go.
Yay! Okay, I mean, not that I don't know. I just
no, but she did. She even told me because she reached out to me because I talk shit about everybody, and she was like, "I just want to let you know that like he's great." Like he really is. And I'm like, okay, good to know. Good to know. Everyone's on the chopping block with me, but good to know.
No, I love all your fun facts. But and also too, I would love to be like, I'm Katie. Like, have you ever met a Katie before?
Yeah.
But okay. Anyways, okay, so speaking of, obviously I love to ask people what they think is going on in the country. Any thoughts on what you think is going on, or what do you think of the Biden administration, or anything you want to share?
I think we are in, dark times right now. I think, I don't know. I'm really worried and nervous about kind of everything that's going on with like everything going up in prices, women's health care. Once once abortion's gone, they're going to come for queer people. Like, I just see this whole thing kind of like we're like de-evolving a little bit, but at the end of the day, I voted for Biden and I campaigned for Biden and more for Kamala because I thought, like, let's have a woman vice president, obviously, I don't think anything, I think I don't think anything's going on. I don't think he's home. I feel bad. I can't watch him speak. He makes me nervous. I don't think we ever have a good choice. I think until privatized organizations that can fund these people are removed out of the situation and we actually have candidates in front of us that we trust, as opposed to people that are being backed by like the NRA or like Google, then how are we going to have like a good country,
No, it is like, I feel like during the Trump thing, I was like, I still kind of am, but like during the Trump thing, I was like reading everything and like watching everything the motherfucker did. And then as soon as like Biden got elected, I kind of like checked out a little bit. And now
I think I had to.
I was like, I need a break. Okay, like there's like an adult running. But now I feel like when I still go and check in, or obviously the horror that happened last week, just everything, I'm like, and then like the health, like literally I remember watching like a live stream of like the Met Gala, and then like I cut it off to the news and they're like, oh, something just leaked that they're going to flip Roe versus Wade. I'm like, what the fuck?
I was like, I knew every time I see, this is like the psychic in me. Every time I see it, I'm like, this is what I've been saying. Like, and it goes to show you, like, it really doesn't even matter about the president. It's like, yes, it matters about the president because Trump then elected people into the Supreme Court that now can literally change all of our lives.
Change your life, yeah.
These psycho, conservative, crazy people that it's all asinine to me. Like, I literally just applied to work at Planned Parenthood because I don't know what else to do in my life and I want to like do something good. And I just, awesome. I'm done with hair and I'm done with I'm done with all of it. I'm like, what would be good? I like begged them on the interview. I was like, I know I have no experience. I know this is entry level, but like, I would be such a good employee here. Like, I would fight for this stuff. I would do this. Like, so I guess that's I don't know. That's the only thing I can do these days is like try and get into action about it as opposed to like worrying so much about it.
Well, good for you. Props for you. Because a lot of people, talk shit and like don't actually like put forth the effort. So props.
Totally. Thanks.
Okay, 2 more things. Okay, so I love the unexplained, like ghost. Have you ever seen a ghost that a story you can share or something trippy?
I've talked to my grandfather before, like as a spirit. Like I swear I had a day where he was like with me and
you just felt him or saw him or
I talked, I could tell you what he was wearing, like and I just will never forget what he told me was you will become a writer and be published, but at first it won't be by your name. It'll be like a ghostwriter, kind of is what he said. And that was years ago. And then look what happened. The first thing that I got published was on the dough, and my name on the dough is Gray Skies Collide because it's anonymous. And I didn't even put the two together until months later. I was like, huh. So, I always wonder that though, like if you see something like that, or if we actually do it, like if we go out and make it happen, or if it actually happens. You get what I'm saying? Like if we actually,
it could be, I guess it could go either way. Cause I guess I've gotten to a point where obviously like free will is on the line, but I have gotten to the point where like, I do think everything, like major things are planned out.
Yeah.
So like to me, obviously for you, like that's major. So like, I think that, and like, he was just giving you the heads up. Like he obviously, I don't know. I just obviously believe in all of that. He felt like he needed to pay you a visit.
Do you see like shadows? Like I always ask people this because this is like a big thing.
Okay, it's interesting. My sister has talked about how she'll like think she sees something out of the corner of her eye and then she looks, there's nothing there. But I think it's interesting. Before we hit record, I was telling Christopher that I was like, I think you're psychic, but I think everyone is gifted.
I think we all are.
Levels.
Yeah.
But I think
it's beat out of us as a kid.
Yeah, like there's something they always say. They do say with children that experience any kind of trauma that they actually, there's something about like leaving the body, so they're more
disoriented. Yeah.
yes. Or I've heard that it's literally a gift given down on the mother's side. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, something about when I turned 30, I started having totally clairvoyant dreams, knowing shit about people that like I shouldn't know about. But here recently, I don't see people or shadows, but I'll sit down with someone and kind of medium-esque.
Okay, cool.
But I'm trying. Someone told me like it kind of, it's interesting that you say that. Like someone told me that long ago that I would like help read people, but that fun fact that I needed to be okay with myself. And like once I'm accepting, like again, like my body and self-confidence, that then the gift would be stronger. Again,
yeah.
If you're listening, I don't know how that comes across, but
well, I think the older you get, the more you believe in stuff like that. Like, I don't know if I'm psychic, but I definitely know I'm empathic, like 100% empathic. And what that means is like, I know how you're feeling when you're in a room. Like, I know. And then
Absolutely.
also like, I also have the ability to like take a shit on the room as well. Like, or uplift the room. Like I always think of Jasper from Twilight, how his power was to change the mood in the room. I am totally someone that can do that. I'm energetic, I'm this, but if I'm low, baby, I could suck the fucking oxygen out of the room too, if need be.
So that's a gift. When also too, I think another, like I say, like for some reason when I turned 30, but I think another level of me getting in tuned was I stopped drinking.
100, hold on, I gotta turn this off real quick, but 100,000%. And I think, and I'm gonna just like take it a step further.
Yeah.
The reason why we drank and used, people that are empathic and psychic, is because we didn't know how to deal with it. And we knew this as a kid. Like we knew X, Y, and Z. Like I always think Bethany Frankel drives me nuts, but I love something she said on The Housewives years ago. Someone goes, God, you think you know everything? And she's like, well, maybe I do know everything. And I laugh every time because like, I feel like that. It's like, no, literally like to a detriment. I know everything. Like I know how you feel about me. I know what it's about, how it is, why you do it. I could go back to the moment when like you started to feel like this about me. Like I don't do any of that because when I have done it in the past, if what I've noticed is someone is not open and reading them, they get very, it's almost like rape in a weird way. They get very like closed, not all rape. That's a terrible way to look at it. But like, it's almost like taking advantage of someone. Like they do not, if they don't want you to read them, baby, no.
Right. And also too, that's interesting that you say that because I feel like not only do they not want you to read, but so when I go to do it, it's like I always tell people, if you're open to me doing this experience, this will be a lot easier. But if you're not,
totally.
I mean, yeah, it won't.
And I think a lot of actors are psychic and empaths. I think you have to have some sort of it in order, because acting is really reacting. So like if you're really embodying that person, you're just essentially reacting to the other person. You know what I'm saying? So it's very empathic.
And real quick, I always say real quick, but so I've been asking people about method acting, and I heard from an actress from an episode.
I wrote an article about that too.
Okay, well, great. So basically, I just recently heard that that's a lazy way of acting, and I've never thought of it like that. But then I also think I understand how you don't want to like snap out of it. So what's your perspective?
Well, my article's called "Is Method Acting Just an Excuse to Be an Asshole?" And and that's what I talk about. Tom Cruise in it. I talk about Clive Owen in it. About what I told you is in that article. And I think that's part of what it is. I think now method acting is just an excuse to be a dick.
Dude, that made my eyes water.
But it's the truth. I don't think method acting is what, like, I'm sorry, but if I'm working on Pirates of the Caribbean and Johnny Depp sits next to me as Jack Sparrow and he keeps acting like Jack Sparrow when I'm trying to eat my quinoa salad, I'm going to fucking slap him across his face. It's ridiculous. But they do that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, just fucking go to your trailer. Nobody wants to deal with this shit. It's like a clown, you know?
But I mean, do you really think that it like...
I think it's all an excuse.
They're going to lose it or what?
I've been to many acting classes and I know that I can get into the character without being an asshole about it, without being method about it. You know, I think there is some sort of like, you need to envelop the character, obviously. And I don't know what it's like on a bigger scale, like something like, you know, enveloping Linda Tripp or Monica Lewinsky. I don't understand stuff like that because I've never been on that level with it. But I think, in my opinion, it's all just an excuse to be a pompous, egotistical prick.
I believe it. That's so funny. That's so funny. I love that. Okay, so as you record, it's the first. It's Pride Month.
Happy Pride Month.
Happy Pride Month. Any thoughts? I saw that you posted a TikTok about Pride, and I thought it was like really. I thought it was awesome. I don't know. Just any thoughts on like what Pride Month means to you or anything?
I just think go to Pride celebrations, gay, straight, whatever. Go to them. Volunteer at them. I'm going to try and go to as many in Texas and just be involved. Just see like what we're about. Like, I think that like the article that's coming out that I wrote on the 6th, it's about how straight people should be not afraid to use the word queer is what the article's about. And that's just like all enveloping. It's like, just get involved. We're the most accepting, I feel like, of all the marginalized groups. You know, we love whatever. So like come in, get involved. We have a lot of fun and lean in. I feel like a lot of us are more bisexual than we are gay or straight. So come on down.
Interesting. I love that. Well, and also too, and I've had like, what is your definition? And this is rookie. I don't know if this is embarrassing for me to ask this, but what is your definition of queer?
Queer to me means I'm just open. It's so funny because I wrote an article about it and it's like, I'm just so open. Like I am bisexual, or I guess pansexual. But it's mostly like to masculine women, as opposed, you know, it's just more like I'm attracted to masculine. But queer to me is just an all-around envelopment of like, this is just me. You may see me like this, you may see me like that. I don't consider myself a gay man anymore. So I guess queer was the easiest thing for me to like lean into, you know, non-binary queer. I don't know.
Very cool. I love that. That. Well, that's it, Christopher. Yay! That's it.
Well, this has just been a delight.
Yay! Thank you so much. Like I said, I know you took a chance, and I appreciate it.
With what?
Well, just I don't know. Just not knowing me. You know what I mean?
Oh my God, I love this. And yesterday I went through and I loved the stuff that I listened to. I was like, no, this is perfect. It's great. So I'm so glad. Thank you for asking.
Yes. Well, I used to tell people that I was like Oprah plus MTV. I still like that.
Yes, I love it.
Pop culture. Also, as we record, they say the verdict is expected shortly in the Johnny Depp case. Fun fact.
He's gonna win.
Yeah, I think that's what my gut says. But then also too, if I'm like, if it was like 1995, like would I have thought would I have thought OJ would have gotten? You know, you always wonder, but not to compare him to OJ Simpson, everybody.
No, totally, but I get it. Cool.
All right, well, I will see you on the internet and hopefully meet you one day. It was my
pleasure.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Bye. What up?